quarters. It's where it all began for Fat Quarter Shop, and this is the video I've been waiting to do for you guys. It's my top 10 favorite fat quarter quilts. Obviously, I love fat quarters, and back in the day when I started Fat Quarter Shop, fat quarter bundles were really hard to find. But I'm going to tell you why fat quarters are so great. A traditional quarter of a yard is 9 inches by width of fabric, which is long and skinny, so you can't get a really wide cut out of that. A fat quarter is 18 by 20 inches, which is the same area of fabric. It's just shorter and fatter, but you can get bigger pieces cut from it, and that's why I love fat quarters. They're so easy to use. And now let's get to what you're really here for, my top 10 favorite fat quarter quilts. Our first pattern is called Swift. It's designed by It's So Emma, and it has 3 size options: crib, lap, and queen. This is a more advanced quilt. You do piece this block on the straight and you add sides. The only hard part is when you add the outside triangles, which puts it on point. We use the Gypsy Soul collection by Basic Gray. We put a dark coral on the outside and a beautiful white floral on our backing. Our next quilt is Hullabaloo by It's So Emma. It's a little P pattern, meaning it is a smaller pattern, which means it's a lower price. This comes in one size, 31 inches by 38, great for a toddler, uses 6 fat quarters. This quilt, we featured Coriander Colors by Corey Yoder. Since this quilt has so many bright colors on the inside, we put a gray stripe on our binding and a nice pink polka dot that's also on the front on our backing. This quilt is super beginner friendly because it just uses squares and rectangles, no corner squares, no triangles, nothing funny, just straight 1/4 inch sewing. Our next pattern is the Seasonal Stitchy Stars Tablerunner by Lori Holt. It finishes at 16 by 79. It uses 5 fat quarters, and what's awesome about this pattern is we give you colorways for winter, spring, summer, and fall, so you can see how to decorate your home. We used a combination of Lori Holt's bee backgrounds, bee ginghams, bee plaids, and prim for this colorway, which is the spring. We put a nice plaid on the outside and a really nice white on our backing so it wouldn't show through to the front. I do love the quilting on this because the crosshatch is super tiny at 1/2 inches wide, and this quilt, I would say, intermediate. The next quilt I'm showing you is Sun Shower by Vanessa Gertson of Layla Boutique. It uses 12 fat quarters and finishes at 66 inches square. This quilt features the Folk Tale collection by Layla Boutique. She put a nice mosaic print on the outside binding and a really cute blue on the back, and that really ties well with the background she has on the front. Now this quilt features a lot of half square triangles, so I would say this quilt is intermediate to advanced. The next quilt is Wholehearted by Andy Knowlton of A Bright Corner. This one has instructions for crib, throw, twin, or queen, and depending on the size depends on the number of fat quarters you use. I think this quilt is beginner to intermediate. It features the Love Note collection by Layla Boutique, and there are 5 different motifs used within the hearts. I love the pantograph on this quilt because of the hearts. She used an aqua binding on the outside that has a polka dot and a Bella Solid on the back that ties it all together, and you can really see that pantograph on the back. The next pattern is called Poppyseed by Corey Yoder, and I wanted to feature this one because it's so beginner friendly with all of the rectangles and squares and very little points. This one comes in one size, 69 by 83. This quilt features the Sugar Creek Wovens by Corey Yoder. Corey added a gray and white stripe to the outside. She put it a little bit skinnier and a peach backing. The next quilt is called Terrace. It's by Allison Harris of Cluck Cluck Sew, and I love it because it comes in 5 sizes: crib, throw, twin, queen, and king. This features the Forget Me Not collection by Allison Harris for Wyndham Fabrics. Allison put a really nice navy on the binding and a plaid on her backing. I want to show you how this quilt is pieced. All of the blocks are pieced, then placed on point. Then you cut the outside So that makes it more of an intermediate quilt and less of an advanced quilt, even though it's on point. Our next quilt is Spangled by Kim Deal. It's 60 inches square and features 26 fat quarters. It's a super scrappy quilt. I would say it is advanced because there are so many pieces. Kim made this version using the Scraps of Kindness collection she designed for Henry Glass Fabrics. She does a really nice skinny binding on the front, fat on the back with another background. Now, believe it or not, this is the same quilt. It just features fat quarters from Lori Holt, found at Fat Quarter Shop. I put a blue binding with a light backing. Our next quilt is called Star Pop. It's by Emily Dennis of Quilty Love. I love her patterns. This one has sizes for baby, 2 different throw sizes, twin, full, queen, and king. So there are a ton of size options. I did want to point out that this quilt is assembled into units. So it looks harder than it actually is. I would say this is beginner to intermediate. And she put a nice orange on the binding and the same fabric on her backing. This is the Starry collection by Ruby Star Society, and this is just a basic collection. So if you have some fat quarters in your stash that are basics, this might be a good pattern to go with. Our last quilt is my absolute favorite. It's Flower Girl by Camille of Thimble Blossoms. This one comes out 78 by 96, so it's super big. It's going to use 20 fat quarters for your flowers, 7 fat quarters for your leaves, and 1 fat quarter for your sashing. Here she also used a Bella Solid. On the outside she has a blue stripe, and this blue floral ties it together. This quilt is, I would say, probably advanced to intermediate, and I did want to remind you, all of the patterns I've shown today you can get in either the paper form or the PDF form directly from Fat Quarter Shop. So let me know, out of all the quilts I just showed you, what is your favorite quilt? I'd love to know. And make sure you subscribe and join me every Friday for my weekly live streams. See you there.